Tonight is the night. We're talking about the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump will face off on the debate stage for the first time.
Yeah, it's the moment millions of Americans have been waiting for. Joining us now for a preview of what we can expect is CBS News legal analyst Jessica Levinson. Thank you so much for being with us. You know, I think we all learned from the last presidential debate against former President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden that this can really be a make or break moment. What are you expecting?
Well, that debate obviously made a huge difference. So for anybody who says debates don't move the needle, look to the conversation we had that morning and look to who is actually running in this campaign. It's not Biden anymore, and it's because of that debate. Let's be clear, without that June 27th, I believe it was, debate, it's still Biden versus Trump. So today, does it matter as much? As everybody who's watching knows, this is an incredibly, excruciatingly close election, so anything could make a difference. We're looking for different things from the different candidates, obviously, but it's those few swing voters in the swing states, and anything, particularly a viral moment that moves them, could move this election.
Yeah, and Jessica, we know there's no live audience, there's no opening statement, so how will this debate structure impact each candidate's debate style?
Well, for Kamala Harris, she's typically the most comfortable when she's the one asking the questions. And we saw that when she was a senator and when she would question, for instance, judicial nominees. So she's going to have to kind of change that style to make sure that she is as comfortable doing what she claims that she's doing here, prosecuting the case, when she's answering questions. I think for former President Trump, it's different. It's trying to be disciplined in a situation where he's not playing to an audience. He gets so much energy from his audience. And in, I think, what a lot of people who might not already be in either camp want to hear is differences in policy proposals. We know these people are very different personally. People want to know, how are you going to affect my daily life?
Well, and that seems to be a concern for Republicans, right? We saw Nikki Haley come out just yesterday afternoon talking about how she wants the former president to stick to policy issues, not attack her on her looks or her, or other things like that, or her intelligence level, that kind of thing. Do you think that he can stick to that? I mean, you saw this is his 7th debate, right? We saw him debate Hillary Clinton back in 2016, and he kept attacking her in that way. And then also, how is Kamala Harris preparing? As you said, you know, she is known as a prosecutor asking a lot of questions. I was reading things like she has someone who looks like Donald Trump in the room. There's different lighting and that kind of thing. Can you just talk about each of them and how they're preparing?
Well, I think that for Kamala Harris, she's hoping that Trump doesn't stick to the policies. She's hoping that she can really rattle him and have him say something that is outrageous. And she's hoping for that moment that they can snip and edit and play over and over again in ads in swing states. Let's be clear that for both candidates, they're not just looking at what happens in the debate. They're looking for 30-second ads and how that could affect the rest of the election, because more people are going to watch those ads likely than may watch the debate. For Kamala Harris, you know, she wants to command this room as a courtroom, as she did in the Senate Judiciary Committee. So absolutely, she's the reporting that she's practicing with a Trump impersonator. I think that's what any smart candidate would do. We know former President Trump does not prepare in a conventional way, that he's much more casual, much more loose about it. I think that people will be looking to see if this looks like, quote unquote, a typical debate, or if Trump looks like he's giving more of his stump speech, if it's filled with more insults that we're accustomed to, and how Kamala Harris can respond. And for both of them, frankly, they both want to push each other's buttons. They both want to rattle the other. They've never met in person. Everybody's watching to see how that dynamic changes who they are on a stage.
I know that's why I'm watching tonight.
I'm excited to watch, too. It's going to be a watch party for sure.
Jessica, thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it.